Hi, everyone, and welcome to Japan Edge for all things Japan. Today's topic is history, specifically the end of the Edo period. So, if you are an expert in Japanese history, this may not be an interesting podcast episode for you. But for those of you who are new to Japan, listening to this episode would be enough to get the basic flow of Japanese modern history. I will also be sharing with you my personal thoughts on how many of us Japanese feel today about this particular time in our history, highlighting key events and some people. And let me tell you, this time period is very fascinating, so no worries, it won't be anything close to a boring history class. Before I dive into the topic, today's featured music is the theme song of an NHK year-long Taiga drama called Yae Cherry Blossom, which aired in 2013. The music was written by the greatest of all time, Ryuichi Sakamoto. This NHK historical drama touches upon exactly what I'm going to be talking about today, and I really highly recommend you to see this drama if you have access to NHK. I've put some link on the podcast description for further information on this drama. Anyway, without further ado, let's get started. I was inspired to explore this topic after watching the latest Detective Conan movie a few days ago. Detective Conan is an anime series that debuted 30 years ago in 1994 and continues to draw a huge fan base, not just in Japan, but worldwide with its enduring popularity. The franchise has released 105 comic books to date, has an ongoing TV anime series airing every Saturday here in Japan, and an annual release of a Detective Conan movie right at this time of the year, every year, making it a significant presence in Japanese anime entertainment. Now, this year's Conan movie storyline revolves around a sword treasure left behind by a character called Toshizo Hijikata, a real person, a prominent figure in the late Edo period, who was a member of the Shinsengumi, a renowned warrior group that fiercely supported the Tokugawa shogunate until its downfall. And I thought, wow, Toshizo Hijikata in the Detective Conan universe. But then, upon reflection, I realized that the saga of the Shinsengumi, and moreover, the entire period leading up to the end of the shogunate, have been recurrent theme in numerous movies and TV dramas. This period is rich with political, social, and cultural significance, and I think it would enrich not only your understanding of Japanese history as a whole, but also give you a peek into the broader nuances of Japanese culture and our value system. So with that, now Tokugawa. Japan had been under the rule of the Tokugawa shogunate since 1603, with Tokugawa Ieyasu establishing a governance institution, putting the Tokugawa family at its core. The structure was so well crafted that it lasted for over 260 years, until the reign of the 15th shogun, Tokugawa Yoshinobu. The shogunate's authority had been waning for quite some time, with the internal corruption becoming rampant and growing independence of powerful daimyos. Many historians have different views, but some would even argue that the system was beginning to fall apart as early as after the third shogun passed away. But the decisive event that triggered the shogunate's decline was the arrival of foreign forces, notably the Americans. In 1853, Commodore Matthew Perry arrived in what is now Kanagawa Prefecture with huge black naval vessels. And really, they flipped out the Japanese big time. They were nothing like what they had seen in their entire life. Now remember, Japan had closed its door in the early 1600s, terminating their relationship with England in 1623, with Spain in 1624, and by 1639, the country cut ties with every country except for Holland and China, limiting their activities to only 4 ports. And since they had banned any Japanese to leave the country and banned any Japanese living outside of Japan to come back, there really wasn't anyone who had a real solution to handle the situation. Faced with overwhelming pressure from the American naval forces, the shogunate signed the Treaty of Kanagawa in the following year, in 1854, thus ending Japan's isolation that lasted for over 200 years. The shogunate sought for a diplomatic solution against foreign forces to maintain sovereignty while accepting political and commercial relationships. But the radicals, particularly the warriors in the western and southern regions, advocated for total battle against foreign forces. The entire country was swirled with anti-foreign sentiment, which was called joi in Japanese. Feudal states like Choshu and Satsuma actually had military confrontation with the British, but they were immediately defeated. Crushed would be the right word, bombed by their huge, powerful cannons, and they realized just how far behind Japan had fallen in the world, and that joi, fighting against them, was not realistic. So, in fact, shogunate was right in their strategy of exploring a peaceful solution. The radicals, instead of supporting the shogunate, turned against the government, claiming that they are ineffective and incapable of handling the changing political environment. Their goal shifted to toppling the shogunate down and creating a new government under imperial rule. In 1868, Tokugawa Yoshinobu relinquished power to the emperor to deter the radicals from attacking the Tokugawa family, depriving them of a reason for them to attack. However, this move failed to appease the radical factions and in fact only strengthened their campaign to eradicate the Tokugawa family. They attacked the shogunate by shrewdly turning them into the enemy of the emperor, and in 1868, Tokugawa Yoshinobu and his entire shogunate surrendered, ending the Edo period officially. He did have his life saved, and the Tokugawa family was saved, but they were deprived of all the wealth and political status. Now, as you can imagine, this whole move by the shogun was a total blow to the daimyos who served under him. Many prominent daimyos had already distanced themselves from the shogunate, but there were a couple that remained steadfast loyal to the shogun family. Most well known was the Aizu Feudal State, based in what is now Fukushima Prefecture, the northern part of Japan. There was also a group of warriors called Shinsengumi, a special police force under the Aizu supervision with the mission of protecting the shogunate's interest in Kyoto. But, as I stated, the shogun himself surrendered, and in fact, he took off in the middle of the war without telling anyone when he realized that he wasn't going to win, and he left his soldiers out in the field, and he surrendered completely. So the loyalists had lost the very reason for their existence. But the interesting thing is that rather than surrendering, they decided to continue fighting against the new Meiji government. The civil war, which had started in Kyoto, moved on to northern Japan and ultimately to Hokkaido. But in 1869, all forces against the new government were crushed and defeated. The legacy of this period continues to resonate in Japanese culture today, with many films and TV dramas focusing on the events leading up to the Meiji Restoration. Especially the dedication and sacrifice of individuals in the Aizu state and members of the Shinsengumi are frequently depicted, and I think I can honestly say that it could be hard to find any Japanese who doesn't know about them. And you would also find that many people today actually have great affection towards them. The Aizu lord knew that the tide was against them, but he also knew he had done nothing wrong to be called a traitor against the emperor. I mean, of all people, the Aizu were the ones who were assigned to Kyoto by the shogunate to maintain order in the city, And at the time, serving for shogun was not conflicting with the emperor. Equating the shogunate and traitor against the emperor was a formula that was shrewdly crafted by the radicals whose agenda was to destroy the shogun family. So, for the Aizu people, surrendering meant accepting their lies and destroying their honor. In addition, there was an Aizu credo, which honored Bushido over everything, and that Aizu had an honorable role of protecting the Tokugawa family. The Aizu lord believed that it was his duty to uphold his family credo, and his lieutenants and his entire people stuck with their lord's decision, and they fought for their cause till the end. The members of Shinsengumi, who primarily consisted of farmers and low-ranking samurais, had a collective dream of achieving the status of a true samurai. They adhered to the principle of Bushido, opting for death over compromising their beliefs, and they had the resolve to uphold their honor at any cost. Now, I do have to say that there are various opinions towards Shinsengumi, since they are known to have killed so many people in Kyoto with the justification of eliminating anti-shogun forces. And so I'm not advocating that aspect of their activities in any way. But one fact that is true is that they stuck to their belief to the end. Whether that belief was right or wrong depends on people's opinion. The most interesting aspect of all this is that many Japanese today sympathize with these people who are on the losing side, not the winners. Their stories have made us empathize with the injustices they faced and the ultimate decisions they had to make. They have become enduring symbols of loyalty and honor in the face of profound societal challenges. And I think they attract us on so many levels precisely because we know that it's difficult to stick to your beliefs. Bushido is not something we adhere to in our daily lives anymore, but there is an essence that wants us to pursue the kind of virtue that they have upheld, which values cause over individual greed. So I hope you enjoyed my very brief introduction of the late Edo period that is full of drama, with implication and great influence over many aspects of our lives today. I hope to be able to share more with you through this podcast. And before I end, on a lighter tone, I have a new video on my YouTube channel giving you a scenery of the city of Yokohama, which is a beautiful suburban area of Tokyo. So please do check that out as well for your entertainment. Thank you for listening, and I hope you'll join me again in my next episode. Until next time, またね、さよなら。